Oh, PD. Are we live?
Yeah, we're live on our stream here.
Do we have the studio camera? Hey, everybody, it's Tiffany. We have new tech today, so hopefully we are back. Some of you requested that we got back on YouTube for live streaming on YouTube, and we did some work this morning. We have some new equipment, so hopefully you're hearing us and you're seeing us, and Petey's here to start the show today. So if you give us some thumbs up and let us know what you can see and hear, that would be amazing. Oh, good. Okay. First, Petey, are you ready to get off the desk? Huh, buddy? All right, everybody. Say bye-bye, Petey. You go down here. Go get your papa. There we go. All right. Let's get busy. Let's get started. So, welcome everybody to Tuesday Live. And as you know, or as you probably just heard, we have new tech today. So if you notice any tech issues, please let us know in the comments. We can make sure and get those addressed. So we're ready to roll next week for the Get Organized Challenge, which is next Tuesday. So for beginning next Tuesday, the 23rd, that is next week, right? Yeah. Next Tuesday, the 23rd, all the Tuesday lives will be Get Organized Challenge for 8 weeks. So I wanted to share something on Facebook. There was a post put up, Katie put a post up that said, describe the Get Organized Challenge in 3 words. And I just thought that this was so much fun. And so these are just a few of the ones I picked in no particular order, but Bobby Ann Day said, room looks great. Why are you laughing, London? Lisa Thomas says, life-changing knowledge. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm laughing because 3 words describe the Get Organized Challenge.
All right. So for those of you who haven't figured it out yet, London's kind of a smarty, right? Like he's a smart human being and he has this very analytical mind. And so there it is. Get Organized Challenge are his 3 favorite words to describe the Get Organized Challenge. Linda McCarty Callis says, don't give up. And I loved this one because your room can be overwhelming. The challenge can seem overwhelming. And that's one of the reasons we keep repeating it. That's one of the reasons we put the videos up. That's the reason we have the Get Organized Challenge group, because for most of us, we are taking on something that's overwhelming, right? Most crafters, before they jump into the challenge, have years of crafting supplies accumulated. If you're new, or if you know somebody who's a new crafter, boy, tell them to join the challenge this next week, because think about how much easier our crafting lives would be if we had started out with everything organized and systematic. That would be amazing. And then we moved forward, it'd be a lot easier than what we're doing now. Diane Brennan says successful crafting strategies. And I love that, because that is kind of my biggest thing with the whole Get Organized Challenge is I want to give you strategies for keeping your room organized, right? There is no one size fits all solution, but hopefully you can take all those things that you're learning and create a strategy that works in your specific instance. And then finally, excuse me, Reen Lee says, purge, prepare, and place are her 3 words, which I also love those. So that was a really fun post. If you're following us on the Totally Tiffany Organizes Facebook page, you'll see those. And please feel free to add your own 3 words. And don't be a smarty like London and just write Get Organized Challenge. All right, let's start today with just a few questions that we had on Facebook. Rosie Algarin. Hi from California. Can you please tell us if and how many of the Scrap Masters fit inside the 12 by 12 white craft supply binder? So I grabbed a binder. I took the binder out. So this is the binder that Rosie is referring to. It is our very simple white zip up binder. It comes 2 ways. It comes just with the hook strip in the middle, and it comes with the hook strip and then a spinder, a 3-ring section on the loop fabric. So this is traditionally used by people who already have a scrap rack and they want to take certain sections off their scrap rack and just stick the spinder in there and either store it like maybe you're going to store all your Christmas stuff off your scrap rack, so it's not taking up all that space, or you're traveling with just a couple of sections, and then that's when you're going to use the Spinder binder cover alone, this piece. And then there's the one with the 3-ring section already in it, and so that just works like a notebook, but also comes in and out to go in your scrap rack. So, and then she was asking about the Scrap Master, which is this guy right here. So how many will fit in there? I'm not sure that this is a good, there's so much extra room. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe London, you could zoom the camera in if it's possible, or can you see it really well? So you got 3 or 4 extra inches of space inside the binder. So you're going to have that extra room. As far as how many you could fit in there, boy, I bet you could get 4 or 5 in there. Now, remember with the Scrap Masters, the inside pockets of them gusset out almost an inch. So if you had all the inside pockets gusseted out, they would be thicker than obviously them not gusseted out. So that would make a difference in how many you could put in your binder, if that's what you were doing. Another great way to transport these or to store these is in the 12 by 12 paper handler. They also store well in the 12 by 12 fab file. So depending on what you're doing, if you're putting it in the binder, maybe you want to travel with it, you could do the same thing in the fab file or in the paper handler. If you put it in the paper handler, you can pull it in and out, carry it in your lowest tote, and those types of things as well. If you're trying to keep them locked down and a little bit safe, maybe you're you want to be able to pull it off and on your shelf or throw it in and out of your tote, and then the binder would work. And you're probably going to get somewhere between 3 and 5 in a binder cover if you, depending again on how fat they are. Linda Leonard. Hi, I have a question. I missed Tiffany's live show on Sunday afternoon, but watched on Monday. Tiffany mentioned putting words or phrases in her scrap rack. What type of pages did Tiffany use to store her words and phrases in her scrap rack? It just depends. So I think the most common size for me in there is the 5x7, the Fantastic 5 page, just because a lot of words come on those sheets that are like 5x7 or 4x6, and they can fit in there. But if you get a lot of smaller individual words, and of course the smaller pocket pages are going to work as well. Generally with words, I've got multiple things on a sheet. I just took a quick look through my scrap rack. I also have in the Words of Wisdom a lot of 12x12 pocket pages, because I have a lot of 12x12 sheets of paper that have like the little, they're almost in card sizes, like 3x4 card sizes, where there's those little blocks that say words like smile and happy day and whatever. And then you cut the page apart to get that block of words. So I did have a lot of 12x12s as well. But it's mostly when you start looking at things that you have with words on them, it was pretty common as I looked through that the majority of them were in, blocks that fit in the 5x7 pockets in the Fantastic 5 page, or they were on 12x12 pages. But again, it's going to depend on what you've got, what you're collecting. So let's see, I've got a few comments here coming up from Katie. Diane Fezer-Barth, I am so ready for the challenge. I need motivation. I am your girl for motivation, Diane. So I'm excited that you're going to be joining us. Vicky Borowski, oh my gosh, first time catching live. Woo, woo. Victoria, so happy to have you on Tuesday Live. Sandy Grant, yay, I get to watch live finally. We just had a little bit of a weird time shift, did we? Like, we're on at 9 o'clock Pacific time now, I guess, because we're in Arizona where things are weird, because we're always on Mountain Standard Time here, even though the rest of the mountain zone is on Mountain Daylight Time, but Mountain Standard Time is now Pacific time. So it's very confusing. It's all very confusing. I'm thankful for Outlook, which automatically adjusts everything on my schedule to where I need to be. Cindy Sutherland, Cindy, my friend, so awesome to see you pop up. The GOC in 2014 changed my life. I'm proud to say I've kept it up. Once organized, it's much easier to stay organized. Thanks, Cindy. So glad that you're with us today. And that is the key. Once you get through it the first time and you have like your building blocks and sort of all your structure in place, the bones of your organization system, then you can pop in whenever you need a refresher, or whenever you need to get remotivated, or you can stay hooked into the Get Organized Challenge group on Facebook and help other people share and learn as you go. But I think Cindy's right. Once you get the basics done, but I think it's really important not to let yourself get overwhelmed. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about throughout the challenge is how to keep from getting overwhelmed and giving up. So Linda LaRoche, it was my daughter's sweet 16 yesterday, and she had a totally Tiffany birthday. Woo, woo, woo. Nancy tote 2 Denise bags, a smaller rotating design board. She loved them all. She likes to dabble in watercolor painting. That is awesome. Really awesome that she likes totally Tiffany products, but even more awesome that as a young person, she's really interested in crafting and creating and being creative, because it's such a wonderful life to have that as part of what you do in life, right? Some ways to be creative, express yourself creatively. So way to go. And thanks for including Totally Tiffany in her birthday. I totally appreciate that. Feels special. All right, next question. Jane Bollinger. I love my fab files. Will there be one to fit and hold the 6x9 Stamps of Life storage envelopes? And then Stephanie did actually answer this question, and she said the Kristen Buddy bag, which will be available Thursday, so day after tomorrow, will hold those as a buddy bag. And then there is a lot of likelihood that if there's a lot of demand for it, that we'll do that for Stephanie. So if you prefer the fab files over the buddy bags, please let us know, and we'll make sure that we get you, or we'll do our best. We can't always do everything, but we'll do our best to get you what you need. I'm hoping to get together with Stephanie here again really soon, and work through maybe what the next line of products that we do just for Stephanie Bernard, totally for the Stamps of Life. Donna says, why do you not offer different colors in buddy bags? Well, ultimately, the reason we never did it to start with was just because once you start adding colors, you start adding SKU and space in your warehouse. And one of the challenges, or one of the reasons that I partnered up with Crafter's Companion was because we outgrew our warehouse as it was. So I love the idea of doing colored buddy bags. It's something that keeps sort of popping up now and then. I know with Stephanie, you can get the pink buddy bag, so that's kind of unique and special to her, but it's definitely something that's on the table. I'm gonna take out my little highlighter here, and I'm gonna bring this up in our next planning meeting, because I think definitely we could consider doing it. For sure, purple, right? For Crafter's Companion partnership, we could definitely do purple. And if Stephanie does pink, that would at least give us 3 color choices. Black is sort of a one-size-fits-all color. It kind of goes with everything, which is why we end up with everything in black. Okay, so I think that's it for questions today, or quick questions today. What do I have here? I have my next list. But I want to talk a little bit about tool storage, which is something that keeps sort of popping up with questions. Lisa, going back to words, I'm going to go back. Lisa Stump says, if you have a page of words that aren't related, do you cut them apart and put them in your themes? Totally depends. So there's sort of 2 schools of thought on that, and I address it consistently as we're going through the Get Organized Challenge. That would be perfect if you cut them apart, each word apart, and put it in the right category, right? It would take a little bit more time up front, but it would be a little bit more efficient on the back end. And so generally when we talk about making things, like really tweaking things and making them more perfect, that's something that I would always recommend you wait and do later, that you would get a good system going, and then you could make those little tweaks as we went along later. So with words, many, many times you look at a sheet of words and they actually all go together. So they might be celebrate words, or they might be holiday words, or they might be inspirational words. Sometimes you get the random, this happy birthday, I don't know, what else could you put on there? Merry Christmas, things that are completely random. I don't cut mine apart. I tend to just put all of them in that words of wisdom section. And then when I need words, I'll just flip through there and I can see most of them. That is one of the sections where I don't really layer stuff up too much, because I do really want to see and be able to read all of those words as they come through. So perfect is the enemy of good. Perfect prevents you, for those of you who are kind of new to the challenge, perfect prevents you from moving forward with a good system. So start out with a good system, with something that's really going to help you and simplify, and then tweak it to perfection by doing things like cutting apart words. This same kind of question comes up when we talk about getting a collection of brads that's a mix of colors, and how do you separate those out, or do you just put them in your rainbow section? Sorry, I need to turn my thing off here. I'm getting, so I would say if you have the time to separate them out and you think it's going to make you more efficient, 100% do it. In the short term, put everything in words of wisdom that you can just flip through. But again, I think it's more rare than we think. Now, with stamps, like you're going to get sets of stamps that have words that might say happy birthday, congratulations, Merry Christmas, thank you, whatever it is. In those situations, I would just copy that sheet of stamps and put all of them, the whole sheet, in thank you, one in birthday, one in Christmas, and just highlight the right one rather than cutting them all apart. So just for it's fast and easy. Again, I'm probably getting ahead there. We're going to talk about that in cataloging and address it in cataloging. So sorry, I wish I had, that's one of the challenges with organizing, is that it's a little bit different for everyone, right? There is no 1 + 1 = 2 correct all the time solution. So how far along you are in organizing, how meticulous you are, like how comfortable, I guess, you are with perfect versus good versus it's okay, right? There's all those ranges of personalities and needs within that organization structure. So we try to talk about all of those kind of things in the Get Organized Challenge, because so much of what happens when you're getting organized is it's all in your head. It starts in your head. All of it starts in your head. So it's important to recognize who you are. And that is why we have our little girls, right? Sophia and Kathy Craft Room and Karen Craft About, all of those girls help us kind of decide who we are and what our best choices are going to be. Okay. Vicky Borowski says, just ordered Kirsten bags from TSOL, Stamps of Life. Can't wait to get them. And Elizabeth Walker received her Kirsten bag yesterday. So I hope you love that Kirsten bag. Okay, let's talk about tool storage, because this is something that comes up sort of regularly. When we do the Get Organized Challenge, that is tool storage, that is mostly referring to tools that are also supplies. So wood stamps, punches, dies, embossing folders, those types of things. We don't talk a lot about actual physical tools. So I think the important thing, and I just pulled out a few different options, some of them along those lines, for tool storage is, again, knowing what you need to access and how you're going to access it and where you're going to use it. So if you're someone who travels a lot, what types of tool storage are you choosing for traveling a lot? What type of access do you have in your room? So I'm just going to show a few of the different tool storage options that I've got in here in my space right now. I just kind of pulled a few things together to share with you. I'll give you some ideas about tool storage. So I'm going to talk more about hand tool things. So get this out of the way. This is a tool. What's important still is getting to it, right? Being able to grab what you need and get to it. So when you have your sort of classic tools, use all the time tools, having them available or having them in something that makes them available. Now, it could be a ditto bag. It could be, so this is the die stamp and supply organizer, and this has more tools in it than, I'm going to show you one with dies and stamps in it, but scissors, different types of cutting things, brushes. This is an airbrush tool, punches, water brushes, paint brushes, cutting tools. right? Everything is sort of visible and accessible. And that's always one of the key things for me is if I can see it or I can get to it and I can use it, then I'm much more likely to actually use it. So whether I'm thinking about using, specialty scissors or hole punches, or actually working with those life-changing brushes that I purchased, but now I can't find them, if I can get them out and visible and accessible, that's always really helpful. A lot of us use our Ditto bag for the basics, right? That's got my the rulers that I love, the basic paper trimmer that I love, my big, I'm looking for it down here, I was hoping it was behind me, my distressing tools, things that I use all the time. They're right there in that Ditto bag. I can open it up and have it available. But we've all got other tools, other things that we like to use besides our basics. And so something that puts it right out in front of you and at your fingertips is really, really a great way to do that. So this came off my drafting and design table. But again, the basic things that I use for that, they're all right here, right? So even my Crocodile and we are multi-punch, which I absolutely love. If you haven't seen or played with one of these, they're awesome. But I've just got them, again, accessible. Basic rulers, they're all right there and ready to go. Wood stamps. This is the 6th level Stadium Arranger with the wood stamps in it. So again, getting that visibility. Now, what other kind of tools are we going to work with? I'm sorry, I turned off my noise thing and I put my glasses in my pocket. So as some of you know, I do this craft project with my mom. We have a craft group called the Sassy Crafters Club. And this week we are painting glassware. And so my mom said to me, can you bring extra brushes and some scissors and repositionable adhesive? So I just kind of preloaded one of these so it's ready to go. I'm going to drop it in a Lois tote and I've got everything I need for that class. But this puts everything visible and accessible for the ladies at the class. And I don't have to do anything. I don't have to take it all, I just have to take it out of the bag and set it on the table and everything is ready to go. So that there's so many different like layers and levels of that. But it makes it like thinking through what kind of tools or storage tools do I need and what's going to work for me can make it really easy. So, and then we talk about things like these are all, this is the vinyl roll set or vinyl roll organizers. These are all punch boards, right? They're labeled on the front. They're easy to pull off and on the shelf, bring to my workstation. If you've worked with punch boards, they have all these weird little shapes with little cutter things, punch things come out of them and fall off, and then you lose them and they're sharp. So storing them in something like the vinyl roll set, you can also do this, store these in the smaller paper handler, like the A4 paper handler works great for punch boards as well. But you've got you've got like the supplies that you need. So these things came with the pinwheel board and I'm able to just put them all in there. So I'm keeping things together. I use together, but pulling it off and on my shelf is really simple, as is the visibility factor of it, right? So that's really key with tools. We invest a lot of money in tools. We want to be able to get to them, see them, use them, and then put them away. So having something like this where I can actually just set it on my desk or my workspace, pull out what I need and drop it back in there when I'm not using it, then it keeps my workspace clean and everything's organized and ready to go back into whatever space it needs to go into, but it's not hidden away anywhere. The same thing with something like, this is my diamond press. If you use diamond press, I've got my folders in here and then the diamond press machine itself. So it's right here, it's ready to go. I've got everything I need that works with it all in one place. So there's so many different options for tools and how to keep those tools sorted, organized, and ready to go. This is the We Are airbrush system. probably my favorite little thing right now to just play with. You haven't used it. It works awesome. But you want to keep your airbrush pens and the charger and the tool all together somewhere. We can't put everything in our Ditto bag, right? Finding an easy way to pull things off and on the shelf and keep things together becomes sort of key for actually getting use out of all of those tools that you've purchased along the way. So really just kind of a simple way, sort of keep that in mind. You've got these tools. If they're buried in a drawer, this is all embossing. I'm sorry, I'm just looking around to see what other little tools I've got here. So this is all heat gun embossing, embossing powder, embossing pens, all of those things, all right here in one nice, so there's, you can see through the back, there's my pens in there. Everything's together in one place. So when I'm actually going to use that tool, I pull it out, pull the tray out, and I can work right out of that tray. So it works really great for all of that. So in terms of for those of you who were, sorry, for those, I was just reading a post from Beth Jesselson, who says, looking forward to the GOC, my embellishments need a lot of help. So we're going to be excited to do that too. All right, so tools, keeping them visible, keeping them accessible, having things right out in front of you. That's really sort of the most important part of getting the highest and best use out of your tools. I had a few other questions today that popped up about the sorting that I did over the weekend. I just had this, for those of you who didn't see it, I'll just recap real quick. I had this whole pile of things that I had been pulling out and using for demos and doing some crafting with, and I was just throwing them into this big tote. And finally this weekend I said, okay, you have to stop this. This is bad behavior. You need to get all this stuff out and organized. And so I did a kind of a long live stream where I just physically went through the process of sorting my pile of messy stuff, and then, you know, getting everything organized and then putting it into my scrap rack. So the last thing that I have left to do in that was the bin of paper. I'm looking around because I thought I brought it out here with me. London, do you see that bin of paper scraps? And it's right over there. Maybe it's behind that blue pop-up trash can on this table. No.
There's a lot of bins of paper scraps around.
There's a lot of paper around. There's not a lot of bins of scraps. Darn it.
You want me to go see? Where did you leave it? You can grab it.
I thought it was right on that table. It's just a box. It's just a VRO box with paper scraps just sticking out of it. Where could I have walked off with it? Ah, there it is. No wonder. And then right next to it is a DSST that's empty. Yes. So the one thing I had left from the weekend was these paper scraps, and I was going to go through and finish sorting them this weekend, and I ended up watching golf with my husband, which some of you know if you were following along. But it was kind of fun to do it on live and answer some questions while I did it, and got some great feedback about you know, that it was helpful to actually see the process, because during the GOC we don't actually see that process. Now there is a full GOC class about paper, so I'm just going to kind of touch really quickly on this and how. So I have the scraps like this. So this is a couple. I'm a little bit embarrassed about this. This is a couple of months of planner scraps and a couple of project scraps for the projects that we did with our.
Live.
We're still live with no. Oh, now we're back. Do we have camera? Do we have video again? Somebody say if you're watching us and you can see us on video.
I'm watching us.
You can see us?
No, I'm watching our feed. We're not back yet.
We're not back yet.
Everybody's panicking.
Dun, dun, dun. Katie, if you can you hear us? Do we have microphone? What do we see? Do we need to
Oh, there we
restart?
go. We're back.
Are we back? Katie King, are we back? I'm watching our little feed here.
There we go.
Bump, bump. We have eyes and thumbs up and all those things.
Yes, we've charged our battery pack. It's just, we're too exciting for the camera.
We're too exciting. We're too exciting for the camera. Okay. Katie says we just lost video on both. It'll probably pop right back up. So I'm just going to wait until someone says yes.
Well, I can see us now. I have the Facebook.
Oh, you can see it on Facebook. Okay, now I can see you. Okay, good. We're all back. Okay, so I'm not sure where we dropped a video, or did it drop right when you told me? Like that's when.
Pretty much right when I told you.
All right, so hopefully I'm not repeating too much, but so I have this mess of paper from projects I've done recently, and I just, like I said, I was just throwing things into a tote and I sorted them on the weekend. Now I'm going to do these paper scraps, and the paper storage class, paper organizing class, we go over all of this in Get Organized Challenge in depth. But I just thought I would just show you really quickly how something like this. Now, when we do the Get Organized Challenge class, we do this with paper storage boxes. I like this for scrap storage because it is 3 levels. So I can see smaller scraps in the 3 levels. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through I'm not going to do it right now because it's not that exciting, but I'm going to go through this section and I'm going to sort my scraps by color, by theme, and then by size. So size is really important for scrap storage because whether you're putting them in a Scrap Master or in pages in your scrap racks, if you use a scrap rack, I'd strongly recommend having scrap pages in each section. And that's one of the things that people sometimes find a little bit challenging is that they try to keep all their scraps together with scraps. But if you think about it, when do you need Christmas scraps? You need scraps of Christmas paper when you're working on Christmas cards or Christmas projects or Christmas pages, right? So you definitely want to have your scraps in there. And also with scraps, I always encourage people to choose a minimum scrap size. So what are you really actually going to use in terms of scraps? So for me, I think anything that's smaller than 6 by 6, generally I'm done with. And I know some people kind of freak out about that, but if you look around your scrap room, your craft room, what is the thing that you have more of than anything else? And it's probably paper, right? But it's also the thing that's most likely to fade, most likely to get damaged, tear, get roughed up around the edges. And it's also very trendy in terms of color and style. So using the most of your paper, because we all know you're going to buy more, right? If I thought that we were just going to stick with what we have and just use that forever, it might be a different thing. But paper is a passion. We see them, we love them. We buy paper packs, we buy, scads of paper, and we really want to use that. So one of the best ways to use that, in my mind, is to not keep all those scraps. So I'm just going to go through this and I'm going to sort everything by color, and reds and pinks, orange and yellow, green and blue. And I'm just sort of staggering things to create this little filing system as I go through that I'm sorting things by color. So when I actually put them into my scrap storage, they're already pre-sorted by color and a little bit by size as I work through. So now I'm going to come across other things like this, right? This is a theme paper. So India, I think I've got some, these are rainbow. Let's see what other theme I've got. I've got a beach theme paper here. So those are going to go into theme. So I'm not going to sort them into color with everything else. This is going to allow me to sort this weird variety of paper by color. I'm going to pull out the themes and put those back in my scrap rack by the theme, and then I'll be able to work through this box and put everything into the either Scrap Masters, if that's what I'm using, or right into the pages of my scrap rack for that as well. So kind of a simple way. And like I said, you can use this is nice because it's got the 3 levels to support each different thing. So I've got this division between each color, which you can see I've also done just by standing some up, which that allows me to go, okay, back of orange and into yellow. It's easy to flip that way. Actually, I probably should turn this. So there's my yellow, so I could just pull this forward and drop in yellow. So it's kind of like a mini filing system. And then of course I can use this for over and over again for other sorts of things. So those are kind of the questions that came up after the live on Sunday. What are you going to do with the paper? How are you going to get that sorted? This is a process that I'm going to use for that. And then it's going to all go into Scrap Masters or my scrap rack. All right, I got a couple of questions popping up here. Patricia Titchwell says the Kirsten bag holds a lot. It's like a larger version of Karen. It is a larger version of Karen, and it was designed specifically for Stephanie Bernard and her bigger pockets. So it works awesome. If you're looking for something that's bigger, Kirsten is the bag for you. Janet says, can't wait for the GOC. Just got my Kirsten bags from TSOL. Love them. Susan Lindsay, how do you organize pattern papers with multiple colors in it? I choose the color that's most dominant for me. So, like these birds, or I guess not necessarily either most dominant or most likely to use. So these birds, I would put those probably in pink, because pink is the color that jumps out for me. Pink is the most likely color that I'm going to use. Or spring. I mean, it's a bird, so that's a little bit of a different. I'm trying to see something in here with multiple colors that's got. Those are mostly pink. Can you tell that I like pink? I've got pink cherries, and I've got pink donuts, and pink flowers, and pink plaid. So finding something that has multiple colors in it. Those are Christmas. That's Christmas. Look at me. I don't have anything in here with that. Oh, I know. Look at that. So this is a beach theme paper, double-sided and multicolor. So if I was just using this side, it's going to go in beach. But this side of the colors could go anywhere, right? What jumps out for you here, or what are you most likely to use? For me, it's probably going to be the lime, right? Another one of my favorite colors. But it's okay to have a section in your scrap rack or in your paper storage that's just called a rainbow. And it could be lights to darks, pastels, brights, darks, whatever you've got. Because the beauty of getting your paper organized, especially vertically, is that it's easy to thumb through and kind of see an edge of all that paper that you've got and choose what you want to use. And it's easy to look through. And that is one of the biggest benefits. So this is another example of the difference between a good system and a perfect system. It is so easy to get hung up with paper on making sure that this paper is in the perfect location. But what's important is that you can find a good choice for the project that you're working on. So if you need a rainbow section in the back that has papers like this with tons of color on them, it's perfectly okay to do that. When you need something with tons of color, you're going to go there and just flip through the corners of that, looking for what you might need. Most of the time, I would say 85% of the time, there's going to be a dominant color in your paper that you love, and that's going to fit in that color group. And that's how I choose it. There is no perfect solution outside of doing something crazy like scanning this paper and making a paper catalog and then putting an example of this scanned paper in every section, red, blue, green, yellow, right? And then the problem and then you think, okay, good. So when I go to my phone or wherever you have your thing, and I'm going to look at all my blue papers, that's going to pop up and I'm going to be able to go get it. But then you have to delete all of those out of your paper catalog as you use them. And so that becomes very cumbersome. Just put a rainbow section in the back, and you can even do rainbow flowers, rainbow dots, rainbow stripes. And then when you need something like that, you can just thumb through that back and find it. So don't try to avoid getting hung up on perfect. You're looking for something good.
Barbara Carlson made a comment that I think is worth sharing. She said, make a quick decision. You can always move it later if it doesn't work.
Yes, way to go, Barb. Yeah, Barb's absolutely right. Decide quickly. You don't want to get bogged down in the process, mostly because, as Barbara says, you can move it later. Just because you put it in there doesn't mean it has to stay there. And what you really want to do is spend your time crafting. So if you can find a good piece of paper or for your project, whatever it is, you're going to be in great shape and you're going to be able to move forward and actually get things done. And it is getting things done. It's that productivity of actually working on a project and finishing it that makes us feel good and gives us that satisfaction of doing something crafty, seeing that finished work. So you don't want to get bogged down in this. So Barbara Carlson, absolutely right. Thank you for sharing that with us. Just make a quick decision and move on. But having a rainbow section is absolutely perfect. All right, so I think that's all I have today. It's kind of a short live, except that I forgot to talk about in the very beginning. Make sure you're making a comment so that you can get entered into the contest for the drawing for a gift certificate. We did have another question about the Inspire points. How long does it take for those to update? And Katie did a little bit of research, and she said it looks like, from everything she can ascertain at this moment, that they do update right away. So after you place an order and that order is processed, then your points update. So the processing, I'm assuming, could take a couple of days, whether it's over the weekend or that type of thing, but it should be pretty rapid that those points update. If you're unfamiliar with Club Inspire and the points, you definitely want to pop onto the website, join Club Inspire, and get your bonus points for joining as we roll into birthday week next week, which, I have some exciting things to share. As we roll into birthday week next week, you want to be ready because you're going to get double points, triple points on some things, bonus points on other things. So there's all these different ways to build up your level to get to that platinum level. And that's when you're really reaping the benefits of getting a 20% discount on all of your orders. And just, this is how I like to think about it. If you get a 20% discount on your order, the average order that's placed on the website is around $70. That means you're going to save $14. So that really is going to translate. Shipping is $12.95. That's really going to translate to free shipping. So getting like to platinum and then spending that $70 is going to get you to free shipping almost every. Well, it will, because shipping's $12.95. It will get, if you spend that $70, but even if you only spend $50, you're going to earn a $10 discount, which is going to take your shipping down to $2.95. So the Club Inspire, besides all the other benefits that come with it, that's how I like to look at, like, how do I get free shipping, right? We all want free shipping. And that's a great way to build up that points base and get you to that platinum level so that you can get that. Someone also asked me about, okay, so if I earn enough points this year to get to platinum, what happens on January 1st? So my understanding is that if you get to platinum this year in 2021, you get to keep your platinum status all the way through 2022. So it's not like, I finally made it to platinum in November and now I'm going to lose it January 1. That's not what happens. You go the next calendar year. So you have then all of the next calendar year to keep building up point. You stay in platinum and keep building up for the next calendar year. So it's not like something you have to panic about, right? Like, I don't know, like airline miles. If you don't have enough at the end of the year, then you roll back. That's not how it works. So, so that's super simple that way too. There was another question about points that I wanted to talk about. Talk about double points, bonus points. I don't know.
Another point about points.
Another point about points. Website. There are a lot of items that appear to be missing from the website. We have not discontinued them. Please, we're just working through some, the way items on the website appear when, like what categories they appear in. And because of that, some things have dropped off, and we're working to get them all back on so that at least you can check the button that says, email me when this is back in stock. But please don't worry that we are discontinuing tons of items. We are not. There are literally truckloads of products stacking up, like literally at the ports, waiting to get delivered to the warehouse. So we're going to get the items back live so that you will know when the things that come back in stock are back, and you can get your hands on what you need. Kind of exciting news. Maybe this is a spoiler alert, and I probably shouldn't be saying anything about it because I'm kind of setting myself up.
We almost made it.
I'm kind of setting myself up. But it looked like from the listing today that we may get things next week actually delivered. So there are... London is making a motion as if I was shooting myself in the foot. But it is looking good. So hopefully we're going to just start seeing these waves of products rolling in. And I know all of you have been so patient and really kind, because I know it's frustrating. And I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate the fact that you are being nice to us as we all sit on our hands waiting for things to roll in from the port. So thank you so much for that. All right, so let's see if Katie has picked a winner. And unless you have any last minute questions. Now, you can always go to the Facebook page and post. Katie puts up a post every week saying, do you have questions for Tiffany on Tuesday Live? So I will answer questions next week after the GOC as well, if there are questions. So there's that. And then we're working on some GOC handout updates. So those should be on the website here. I'm going to recommend that if you print your GOC handout, that you wait a couple of days. There's just a few tweaks. So I know they're on the website, but I am like working through them to sort of refresh them and make sure all the information is accurate and the links are accurate. So if you just wait a couple of days, when the GOC email comes out that says, here's the download link for your GOC handout, if you can just kind of wait and then print that, you're going to get the latest and greatest edition of that. Now, with the GOC handouts, if you just download them onto your computer, all of the links in the handout are live. So I'm going to refer to videos and blog posts and that type of thing during GOC. And all of that stuff is referenced on the Get Organized Challenge handout for that week. So if you keep a copy of it on your desktop, maybe start a little folder on your desktop of all of them, you can refer back to them pretty easily and just, find that link in the post and click to it. And you can also print it. Some of us like printed things. And I saw a comedian the other day who said he was at an event and he handed out some things from his Wikipedia page that he was going to make some jokes about. And then one of the jokes he ended up making was, yes, I printed things. I'm over 40. I can't help it. So I know that's something that we do. Every time I say to my son, do you want to print that? He's like, no, why would I do that? So, but I like to print things. I like to have paper and take my notes. So just a heads up on that as well. Okay, I think I got everything. If I missed something, Katie, let me know. But I think I had everything on the list. So let's see can we get a drum roll? Okay, Cheryl Adams, she says, I have always had a problem with scrap paper, so I'm loving this. Thanks for all your helpful tips and your great products. Cheryl Adams, you are our big winner this week. So you get a Totally Tiffany Crafter's Companion gift certificate. And the way that you're going to claim that is you're going to reach out to prizes@crafterscompanion.com, and they will hook you up with a gift certificate code, which you can hang on to until all of our products are back in stock, or whatever you need is back in stock, and then treat yourself to some wonderful Totally Tiffany things. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm totally looking forward to, and one of the reasons I'm working hard to get my personal scrap rack back in shape, which I did this weekend, Get Organized Challenge starts March 23rd, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. crazy whatever time in the UK. We have this weird time change thing going on, so I'm really sorry. I don't know what time it's going to be in the UK because I think you guys spring ahead also this week. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Katie will get it all up on totallytiffany.com. So thanks for joining me today, and I will see all of you guys next Tuesday. Get ready to get organized.